DMZ Observation Post, North Korea, 2015. A sniper lined up a shot through his scope, targeting a propaganda balloon launch site 600 meters away in South Korea. He was using North Korea's new Pakyeta rifle, their supposed copy of America's devastating M110 semi-automatic sniper system. He squeezed the trigger. The rifle fired once, then the bolt shattered, sending metal fragments through the receiver and into the sniper's face, blinding him in one eye. Within hours, reports flooded in from across North Korea's military. The Pakyeta rifles were exploding, jamming catastrophically, and missing targets by meters, even at short ranges. The regime's decade-long effort to copy American precision weaponry had produced rifles more dangerous to shoot than to be shot at. This is the story of dictatorial delusion meeting engineering reality and losing catastrophically.
The sniper system that dominated battlefields. The M110 semi-automatic sniper system, adopted by the U.S. military in 2008, revolutionized military marksmanship. Unlike traditional bolt-action sniper rifles that required manual cycling between shots, the M110 fired as fast as a trained marksman could pull the trigger while maintaining accuracy comparable to bolt guns. The weapon could engage multiple targets rapidly, suppress enemy positions, and provide precision fire at ranges exceeding 800 meters. Every aspect of the M110 reflected sophisticated American engineering. The rifle was built around a match-grade barrel manufactured from premium ordnance steel, precisely rifled and chrome-lined for durability. The gas system was adjustable, allowing operators to tune the rifle for different ammunition types or environmental conditions. The free-floating barrel remained isolated from the stock, maintaining accuracy as the barrel heated during sustained firing. And the weapon was designed around a suppressor, reducing sound and flash signatures while maintaining ballistic performance. American snipers equipped with M110s dominated engagements from Iraq to Afghanistan. They could engage insurgents at extended ranges with devastating accuracy, then rapidly shift fire to multiple targets. The semi-automatic capability meant a sniper could place multiple precise shots on target in seconds, impossible with traditional bolt-action rifles. Enemy forces learned to fear American snipers, knowing that any exposure could result in instant, accurate fire from positions they couldn't identify. For North Korea's military leadership, watching American forces demonstrate precision dominance through superior equipment, the M110 represented everything their snipers lacked. North Korean military snipers still used crude copies of Soviet Dragunov rifles from the 1960s, semi-automatic but wildly inaccurate by modern standards, prone to jamming and incapable of the precision that defined modern sniper operations. If North Korea could produce M110 equivalents, their snipers could match American capabilities, at least on paper. The propaganda value would be enormous, demonstrating that North Korea could match Western military technology despite sanctions and isolation. And the military benefits seemed substantial: precision engagement capability that would multiply North Korean sniper effectiveness. The problem, as always with North Korean military ambitions, was that the regime's self-perception bore no relationship to its actual capabilities. North Korea couldn't build precision rifles because precision manufacturing requires an industrial ecosystem that North Korea simply didn't possess and couldn't develop under its current political and economic system. The intelligence operation and the delusional plan. North Korean intelligence services targeted M110 technology aggressively, beginning around 2009. Their methods combined electronic espionage with exploitation of commercial markets and academic channels. Cyber operations. North Korean hackers, operating from facilities in Pyongyang and abroad, conducted attacks against Knight's Armament Company, the M110's manufacturer, and related defense contractors. They exfiltrated gigabytes of data, including design drawings, material specifications, manufacturing procedures, and test results. Commercial exploitation. Through shell companies in China and Southeast Asia, North Korean agents purchased civilian variants of the rifle platform, along with components, tools, and technical literature. These acquisitions provided physical examples to examine and reverse engineer. Academic espionage. North Korean agents exploited academic conferences and technical publications to gather information about precision rifle manufacturing, barrel making, and advanced materials. By 2011, North Korean weapons designers possessed comprehensive information about the M110, far more than they'd ever acquired about any previous Western weapon system. The stolen data included detailed specifications, materials lists, manufacturing procedures, and quality control standards. On paper, they had everything needed to produce equivalent rifles. The program to develop a North Korean M110 copy, designated Paik-2, named after the sacred mountain in North Korean mythology, was assigned to the Ryungsong Machine Complex, one of North Korea's premier weapons facilities. Chief designer Kim Chol-man, a Soviet-trained engineer who had worked on various North Korean small arms programs since the 1980s, was placed in charge. Kim was a realist who understood North Korean manufacturing limitations, but he was also a survivor who knew that expressing doubts too openly could be fatal. Examining the M110 data with his team, Kim immediately recognized that North Korea lacked fundamental capabilities required for precision rifle manufacturing. "This weapon represents manufacturing sophistication we don't possess," Kim told his senior engineers during initial planning, speaking carefully to avoid accusations of defeatism. "The barrel requires premium steel we can't produce consistently. The gas system demands precision machining beyond our capabilities. The accuracy requirements necessitate tolerances we can't maintain across production. We can attempt to build something similar in appearance, but achieving equivalent performance will be extremely difficult." Kim's assessment was accurate, but it was also politically unacceptable. Kim Jong-un, who had recently assumed power after his father's death, had personally directed development of the Paik-2 rifle as proof that North Korea could match Western military technology. Failure would reflect poorly on the new leader's judgment and on North Korea's claims of technical prowess. The directive came down through party channels: produce working Paik-2 prototypes within 2 years for demonstration to Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. Questions about feasibility were treated as political disloyalty rather than legitimate technical concerns. The program would proceed regardless of obstacles. The manufacturing catastrophe. Production of Paik-2 components began in 2012, and problems emerged immediately across every system. Barrel manufacturing. The M110's match-grade barrel was the heart of its accuracy. Manufactured from premium ordnance steel with extremely consistent properties, precisely rifled, and chrome-lined for durability. North Korean steel mills couldn't produce equivalent material. The steel they provided varied in composition and properties from batch to batch, contained impurities, and lacked the consistency precision barrels required. "Our steel is adequate for making AK barrels, where precision isn't critical," the metallurgist reported, "but not for precision rifles, where minute variations affect accuracy. The steel we're receiving has inconsistent hardness, internal stresses, and inclusions that will degrade barrel life and accuracy. We're ordering the best available, but best available in North Korea isn't adequate for this application." The rifling process revealed further limitations.
North Korea lacked modern button rifling or hammer forging equipment that American manufacturers used. Their cut rifling machinery was ancient, worn, and couldn't maintain the precise groove dimensions and consistent twist rates precision rifles required. The barrels that emerged had rough bores, inconsistent rifling, and dimensional variations that would scatter bullets unpredictably. Gas system. The M110's adjustable gas system allowed operators to tune the rifle for different conditions, ensuring reliable functioning across temperature extremes and ammunition variations. North Korean engineers attempted to copy this system, but lacked understanding of the engineering principles involved. Their gas systems were crude, unreliable, and often generated either insufficient gas, causing failure to cycle, or excessive gas, causing accelerated wear and sometimes catastrophic failures. Receiver manufacturing. The M110's receiver was machined from aluminum forgings to tight tolerances, providing a rigid, stable platform for the barrel in action. North Korean aluminum was inferior to American material, and their machining equipment couldn't consistently maintain required tolerances. The receivers that emerged were heavier than necessary to compensate for weaker material, dimensionally inconsistent, and often had internal stresses that would cause shifting over time. Trigger mechanism. The M110's trigger was a precision-manufactured two-stage unit, providing consistent, crisp trigger pull. North Korean triggers were crudely made, with heavy, gritty trigger characteristics that varied from rifle to rifle and degraded shooters' ability to place shots accurately. Stock and accessories. The M110's adjustable stock, rail systems, and accessory mounting points all required precision manufacturing. North Korean versions were poorly made, with loose tolerances that allowed excessive movement, weak materials that bent or broke under stress, and dimensional inconsistencies that meant components designed for one rifle often didn't fit others. Every component we're producing is inferior to American equivalents, Kim reported during a progress review in 2013. The barrels are adequate for 300-meter accuracy at best, not the 800-plus meters the M110 achieves. The gas systems are unreliable. The receivers are too heavy and not precise. The triggers are poor. We're building rifles that superficially resemble the M110 but can't match its performance.
The pressure and the fraud. Kim's honest assessment of the program's problems was treated as political disloyalty. He was subjected to self-criticism sessions where he was forced to confess insufficient revolutionary spirit and excessive Western thinking. The message was clear: report success or face consequences. Faced with impossible demands and genuine fear of punishment, Kim and his team made a fateful decision. They would produce demonstration prototypes that looked impressive while hiding their fundamental flaws, hoping that once the rifles were accepted into service, ongoing improvements could gradually address problems. The prototypes prepared for demonstration to Kim Jong-un were carefully selected from the most acceptable examples produced, then extensively hand-fitted and tuned by master gunsmiths working individually on each weapon. These rifles bore little resemblance to what mass production would yield, but they represented what North Korean propaganda needed: proof that the regime could produce modern, precision weapons. The demonstration took place in spring 2014 at a military facility near Pyongyang, with Kim Jong-un and senior military officials attending. The test shooters, carefully selected soldiers who had practiced extensively with the specific rifles assigned them, fired at targets from 300 to 500 meters. The rifles functioned adequately, grouping shots within acceptable accuracy for these shorter ranges, though nowhere near M110 standards.
Kim Jong-un, who had no technical expertise to evaluate the weapon's actual performance, was pleased by the demonstration. He declared the Paek-2 rifle a triumph of North Korean ingenuity and ordered immediate mass production. Engineers who knew the demonstration rifles were hand-selected exceptions rather than representative of what production would yield said nothing, knowing that contradicting the supreme leader could be fatal.
The production reality. Mass production of Paek-2 rifles began in late 2014, and the gulf between demonstration prototypes and production reality became immediately apparent. Without the extensive hand-fitting and component selection that had made the demonstration rifles minimally functional, production weapons showed catastrophic problems. Accuracy catastrophe. Production rifles couldn't group shots consistently at even 300 meters, let alone the 800-plus meters the M110 routinely achieved. Barrels varied so much in quality that one rifle might shoot 6-inch groups at 100 meters while another shot 20-inch groups. Snipers couldn't trust their rifles to hit where aimed, destroying confidence and effectiveness. Reliability failures. The gas systems failed regularly, causing rifles to jam after every few shots or, worse, to fire uncontrollably in automatic bursts due to disconnector failures. Extractors broke, leaving cases stuck in chambers. Bolts wouldn't lock fully, causing accuracy problems and occasional dangerous gas leaks. The rifles were dangerous to fire, not just ineffective. We're receiving reports of catastrophic failures from every unit issued Paek-2 rifles, a military logistics officer reported to superiors in early 2015. Multiple soldiers have been injured by exploding rifles. Accuracy is so poor that snipers can't hit targets at ranges where they should be certain. Units are requesting to keep their old Dragunov copies because those rifles, while inferior to Western weapons, at least don't try to kill the people firing them. The officer who submitted this honest assessment was arrested for spreading defeatist propaganda and sentenced to a labor camp. The message was clear: don't report problems, no matter how severe.
The field disasters. Despite attempts to suppress information about Paek-2 failures, the problems were too widespread to hide completely. Within North Korea's military, the rifle became a dark joke. Paek-2 rifle, precision guaranteed to miss. If you want to survive combat, don't use Paek-2. The only thing Paek-2 hits consistently is your confidence. More seriously, the failures had operational consequences. DMZ incidents. North Korean snipers manning positions along the demilitarized zone equipped with Paek-2 rifles discovered their weapons couldn't hit targets on the South Korean side reliably, even at relatively short ranges. Rifles that should have enabled precision engagement at 600-plus meters struggled to hit consistently at 300 meters. Several incidents occurred where North Korean snipers fired multiple rounds at targets without achieving hits, revealing their positions and drawing return fire. Training disasters. During sniper training exercises, multiple soldiers were injured by Paek-2 rifles that exploded during firing. In one incident, a bolt shattered and sent fragments into a trainee's face, blinding him in one eye and ending his military career. The regime classified these incidents as training accidents without acknowledging that defective equipment was responsible. Equipment abandonment. Some sniper units quietly stopped using Paek-2 rifles, reverting to their old Dragunov copies or even bolt-action rifles. While these older weapons were inferior to modern Western systems, they were at least reliable and wouldn't randomly explode. Commanders who couldn't risk their snipers being killed by their own equipment tacitly accepted this equipment substitution.
The investigation and scapegoating. By mid-2015,
The Paik-2 rifle's failures had become impossible to ignore even within North Korea's reality-denying political system. An investigation was ordered, though its purpose was less to understand technical problems than to find individuals to blame. The investigation identified all the technical problems that Kim Chol-man had warned about years earlier. Steel quality insufficient for precision barrels, rifling machinery inadequate for consistent production, gas systems poorly designed and manufactured, receivers lacking precision and consistency, quality control non-existent, allowing defective weapons into service, assembly procedures inadequate, requiring extensive hand fitting. But rather than acknowledging that these were systemic problems reflecting North Korea's limited industrial capabilities, the investigation blamed individuals for sabotage and insufficient revolutionary consciousness. Kim Chol-man, who had tried to warn about problems from the beginning, was arrested and accused of deliberately sabotaging the program. The charge was absurd. Kim had been trying to make the program succeed despite impossible constraints. But in North Korea's political system, someone had to be blamed. Technical explanations that North Korea simply couldn't manufacture precision rifles were politically unacceptable. Kim was convicted in a closed military tribunal of sabotage of national defense through intentional production of defective weapons and executed by firing squad in 2016. His family was sent to a prison camp. Several other senior engineers were also arrested and imprisoned, though they escaped execution. The Paik-2 rifle was quietly withdrawn from frontline service, with official statements claiming it was being improved based on field experience. In reality, most rifles were scrapped or relegated to storage where they could cause no further harm. North Korean snipers went back to using their old rifles, accepting that they would remain technologically inferior to potential enemies because their own system couldn't produce better alternatives.
The broader pattern of failure. The Paik-2 disaster exemplified broader patterns in North Korean weapons development. Systemic incapability. North Korea's industrial base couldn't support precision manufacturing. Steel production was inconsistent, machining equipment was worn and inaccurate, and quality control was non-existent. These weren't problems that could be fixed by shooting a few engineers. They were fundamental limitations of North Korea's economy and industrial system. Political pressure over reality. The political system punished honest technical assessment while rewarding optimistic promises regardless of feasibility. Engineers learned that reporting problems was dangerous, while claiming success, even falsely, was rewarded. This created cycles where programs proceeded despite being doomed, leading to eventual catastrophic failures. Espionage limitations. Stolen technical data provided specifications and procedures but couldn't transfer the industrial ecosystem and accumulated expertise that made precision manufacturing possible. North Korea could learn what American rifles looked like and how they were supposed to work, but not how to actually build them reliably. Scapegoating rather than learning. When failures occurred, the regime blamed individuals rather than acknowledging systemic problems. This prevented learning from mistakes and ensured the same errors would be repeated in future programs.
The human cost. The Paik-2 program consumed resources North Korea desperately needed for other purposes. The estimated cost exceeded $100 million, enormous for an economy measuring GDP in low tens of billions. These resources could have fed thousands of malnourished North Koreans, improved healthcare, or maintained infrastructure. Instead, they were wasted, producing rifles that didn't work and posed dangers to the soldiers using them. The human cost extended beyond resources to the individuals destroyed by the program's failure. Kim Chol-mon, executed for sabotaging a program he had tried to make succeed despite impossible constraints. His actual crime was being honest about technical limitations in a system where such honesty was treated as treason. Injured soldiers, multiple soldiers were blinded, scarred, or otherwise injured by exploding rifles. These young men bore physical and psychological scars for life because they were issued defective equipment that should never have been approved for service. Imprisoned engineers. Engineers arrested and sent to labor camps for failing to achieve impossible objectives. Their expertise was wasted in brutal prison conditions rather than being applied to achievable projects. Kim Chol-mon's family, sent to prison camps and subjected to brutal conditions because of their relation to someone accused of sabotage. North Korea's system of collective punishment meant entire families suffered for alleged crimes of individual members. The continuing inadequacy. As of the 2020s, North Korean military snipers remain equipped with obsolete weapons, Dragunov copies from the 1960s, and crude bolt-action rifles that would have seemed outdated in World War II. The contrast with South Korean and American forces equipped with modern precision rifles is stark and represents a capability gap North Korea cannot close. North Korean propaganda occasionally features images of snipers with modern-looking rifles, suggesting ongoing domestic production of advanced weapons. But reports from defectors and intelligence sources indicate these are either props for propaganda photographs or extremely limited numbers of hand-built rifles that can't be mass-produced reliably. The fundamental problems that doomed the Pike-2 rifle persist. Steel production remains inconsistent and inadequate for precision barrels. Manufacturing equipment remains worn, obsolete, and incapable of maintaining required tolerances. Quality control remains weak, with production quotas prioritized over meeting specifications. The political system continues punishing honest technical assessment while rewarding false optimism. Economic sanctions limit access to foreign materials, components, and manufacturing equipment that might enable improvement. North Korean snipers understand they are technologically overmatched. Defectors describe low morale among precision shooter units who know their equipment is inferior and that they would be at severe disadvantage in any conflict. The Pike-2 failure reinforced this understanding while also creating fear that future equipment might be actively dangerous rather than merely inadequate.
The lesson North Korea cannot learn. The fundamental lesson of the Pike-2 disaster, that technological capability cannot be stolen or mandated by political decree, but must be built through patient development of industrial capabilities, is one that North Korea's political system makes impossible to internalize. The regime's legitimacy depends partly on claims of technical self-sufficiency and military prowess. Acknowledging that North Korea cannot manufacture modern precision weapons would undermine these claims and suggest weakness. So the cycle continues. Ambitious programs targeting Western weapons technology, attempts to copy through espionage and reverse engineering, failures when manufacturing cannot meet requirements, scapegoating of individuals rather than acknowledgement of systemic problems, and eventual program cancellations that are never publicly admitted. Resources are wasted, individuals are destroyed, and North Korea's military remains equipped with obsolete weapons while the regime maintains the fiction of technical sophistication. The M110 sniper system that North Korea tried to copy continues in service with U.S. and allied forces, having proven itself in combat operations worldwide.
The weapon's accuracy, reliability, and effectiveness make it one of the most successful precision rifles in military service. American snipers trust their M110s absolutely, knowing the rifles will perform exactly as designed when precision matters most. The Pakdu rifle exists only in propaganda photographs and in storage facilities where scrapped weapons await disposal. It stands as a monument to totalitarian delusion, to the costs of attempting technological shortcuts, and to the human price paid when political imperatives override engineering reality. The soldiers who were injured by exploding Pakdu rifles, the engineer executed for sabotaging a doomed program, and the countless North Koreans who went hungry while resources were wasted on impossible weapons projects, all are victims of a system that values propaganda over substance and political face over human welfare. The story deserves remembering not just as a failed weapons program, but as an illustration of how totalitarian systems destroy the technical honesty and patient development that genuine capability requires. North Korea will remain technologically inferior in military equipment until the political system changes to allow honest assessment of capabilities, patient development of industrial foundations, and learning from failures rather than punishing those who report them. Until then, North Korean soldiers will continue carrying obsolete weapons while their leaders claim technical prowess that exists only in propaganda, and the nation's limited resources will continue being wasted on impossible projects that produce nothing but failure and human suffering.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more content just like this.